How do you get rich when you have nothing? I used to think that you had to play basketball, sell drugs. Look, the late great philosopher Biggie Smalls once said, either you're slinging crack rock or you got a wicked jump shot. And I know that sounds so stupid, but those are the only two routes that everybody around me was trying to do. But once I understood these 11 rules of money, I made over 7 figures online in my business with just one digital product doing a little over 900K. And I ain't have to chef nothing up in the pot or shoot a jumper to do it either. These 11 rules have made me what some have told me is a shit ton of money. And it's only gonna take me about 5 minutes to break them down so you can know how to make a shit ton of money. So if you don't have 5 minutes to spare, then you probably just have a bunch of dumb money beliefs like most of the population out here, and my former self, and my pops too. Because my pops thought this up until I had my first 6-figure month. And now he doesn't think that every successful person out here has some illegal drug ties or something like that. We had everything so messed up in our brains. But there is one thing that I did learn from the guys around the way, which is the first rule of the 11. And it's that you have to sell something. People are trying to do any and everything out here outside of simply just selling something. And the only people that get ahead in life are the people that sell. It's not going to be any investing. It's going to be people that actually sell something. A lot of people, they're trying to get passive income or they're trying to become wealthy when actually you need to get the money first in order to buy the actual wealth. People try to get wealthy first and skip the step of getting rich when you have to get rich first in order to become wealthy. That's why nobody gets ahead. And really growing up, the first person that really got my mind on this outside of the guys around the way, I'll just call them street pharmacists, right? Because they really weren't selling anything different than what pharmaceutical companies are selling. It's just that it may not have been legal. But in my city, I'm from Lexington, Kentucky, on the corner of 5th Street and Smith Street, there used to be a corner store right there. And this dude that owned the corner store, his name was Mike. And when I was a kid, I was like, I thought Mike was so cool because Mike had a store and he sold candy and pop and cookies and pickles and hot sausages to everybody. I didn't know any better. I thought Mike was rich because I'm like, if everybody in this entire neighborhood is coming to Mike every single day and they're giving Mike their money for products. So I'm like, man, I gotta figure out something that I could sell. And Mike, he had great customer service too. Every time you come in, he'd say, hey partner. And everybody just loved Mike. Everybody bought stuff from Mike. So I was like, oh, I need to be a business owner. I didn't know that Mike was an entrepreneur because back then in the 1990s, I had never heard the word entrepreneurship back in the 1900s. Now everybody just entrepreneur, but there wasn't a word that I had ever heard in my life yet. It's just that I know that I need to sell something. I know that I need to have a business like Mike has a business. Now, the best thing that you can sell in today's day and time is a digital product. Why? Because it takes little, if any, capital to create. The deliverance of it is digital, a simple email, and it's very, very easy to scale because you only have to do the work once, but you can sell it to an infinite amount of people to actually scale that product. You do the work once and can get paid forever and actually make more while working less and getting your time back once you implement a system. And system, SYSTEM, stands for saving yourself time, energy, and money. But you have to sell something. Entrepreneurs sell something. There's no way around it. So if you think that you don't like sales, or if you think that people don't like sales, you got to get that thought out of your mind because people, they actually love sales, but people, they don't like the feeling of being sold to. So when you hear those people that say like, oh, I don't like sales, or I don't like being salesy. I don't like being salesy. I hate sales. It's just so icky. They're going back in their mind and they're referring to an experience that they had with a bad salesperson that made them buy something that they felt like they did not need and that the salesperson only benefited from. Because it's impossible for people to hate sales because people buy stuff every single day. And it's impossible to buy something if somebody does not sell it to you. So people actually love sales, but they love the feeling of feeling like they just bought something that they wanted to buy. They don't like the feeling of being convinced to buy something. So even going back to Mike, people wanted to go to the corner store to buy the stuff that Mike was selling. They didn't feel like they had to be convinced to buy the stuff. They wanted the stuff, they went and bought it. Mike had stuff that was perceived of value to other people, and then they exchanged their money for the value that Mike gave them, whether that be a bag of chips, whether that be a pickle, whether that be a beer, whether that be some Laffy Taffies, right? But whatever the product was, people, they bought it just because they felt like it. That's the same thing that we have to focus on with our digital products online. All that we have to do is have something of value, and then somebody will exchange their money for the value that we give to them in return. Because money is simply just a symbol that shows that value has been exchanged. And value is a key word here, which leads into rule number 2. It doesn't take money to make money. Stop believing that bull crap. It takes value to make money, and it takes an executed idea to make money. Ideas are worthless. Everybody has ideas. Everybody has a bunch of ideas that nobody's attempting to do any execution on. So if I take it back to my growing up and I fast forward from back in the 1900s and I bring it to the 2000s, there was a time where people used to listen to music on CDs. I don't know if you're old enough, but do you remember CDs? I used to sell other kids CDs and I didn't have any money. I was selling for $10 a pop and I had no money and I didn't have a CD burner. But how was I making the money? Well, I had the value of being a kid on the basketball team that everybody liked, and I had a lot of friends and everybody that knew me. Well, guess what? There was a kid that had transferred into my school from Nigeria by the name of Ruke. Shout out to you, Ruke, if you just happen to be seeing this. But Ruke, me and him became friends, and he had the CD burner. Ruke had resources, I had resources. He would front me the CD for free, then I would go and sell the CDs for $10, and then we would bust it down evenly. I would get $5 and he would get $5. That's a little lesson that I did learn from the guys around the way also, because some of them would get fronted a little bit of work, and then they would go out and sell them little pieces of work. Then they would come back and pay off whoever it was that fronted them some work, and now they have some actual money to go out and purchase the things that they need to do the stuff on their own. So it's kind of the same thing for me. Once I started to stack my bread up from me and Ruke actually splitting this stuff, and then once I actually got a computer that had a CD burn on it, guess what? Now I have the capital to whereas I could go to Walmart and get all the blank CDs myself, and now I'm getting these for 100% profit of the $10 a pop. It doesn't take money to make money. Even when I fired my job April 1st, 2016. The first business that I had some success in was a small niche in real estate called wholesaling, where you basically flip houses without using any of your own cash or credit. So what would happen is that I would go and I would find some distressed homeowner that's going through some type of situation where they needed to sell the house right now. It might be about to go into foreclosure. They might be about to lose the property to delinquent property taxes or whatnot. And I would negotiate a purchase price to purchase their home. Sign a contract to say that I am going to purchase this home for this price point. Then I will go out and I will find a real estate investor, maybe a house flipper, maybe a landlord or something. And I would basically sell my contract to purchase the home to them for a fee. I'll sell you this contract to purchase this home for $10,000. They would sign that contract. Boom, I just made $10,000 without using any of my own money. But I had value to both sides of the party. I had value to tell them, hey, instead of just losing your house for nothing, I can buy it at this price and I can close quickly. And the value I have on this side is that, hey, I know that you want some more real estate for your portfolio, but you don't know how to find the good deals. I have value for both parties, therefore I got compensated for it. I would just make $10,000 poof and appear from nowhere when I had no cash. So all those people that always just say, oh, well, I can't make any money because I'm broke. Oh, you know it takes money to make money. I'd be like, shut up, stupid. You just telling yourself that stupid shit so you can feel better about yourself and so you can cope with you not having nothing. So you can cope and feel comfortable about you living a life that you don't want to live, because it ain't true. Even just a small YouTube channel, if I'm still just using real estate as an example, I don't have the biggest YouTube channel, but currently at the time of me recording this video, my small YouTube channel pays me more per month than about 4 to 5 rental houses. It doesn't take me any money to do YouTube videos, just from the views alone. And the reason why I say that, a lot of people that know nothing about real estate, they think that all these people that's in real estate are like so rich. But good cash flow on a rental property, especially a single door rental property or a single family house, it's only a few $100 a month. It's not much. That's why they have to stack up those doors, and they have to get so many to have like a good amount of net positive cash flow. You're only getting $400 a month. People don't talk about when the AC goes out. There's your whole year's profit right there. But content, a small YouTube channel, doesn't take any money to make videos, and those videos pay me currently more than about 4 to 5 rental properties. It doesn't take anything to create a digital product that you can create one time and sell over and over and over and over and over and over and over again once you have a system created for yourself. Which leads into number 3, you don't have to be smart to get rich. Look, I used to work for this dude cleaning parking lots. Basically, my job was that I would drive around a sweeper truck all night. There was a leaf blower on the back. I would get to my spot, I would blow all the trash from up under the cars, from out the curb into the parking lot. Then I would drive over all the trash to suck it up with the sweeper truck. And then I would change all the trash cans in the little strip mall or whatnot. That's what I used to do for some money. And the dude that owned the company, he was so stupid. And I just got so motivated because I was like, yo, if he can be rich and run a business, then I know I'm gonna be all right. I know for a fact that I'm gonna figure it out, because he was an idiot. He wasn't any smarter than me, but he did know the game. And that's the problem where most entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs are messing up at, is that they don't know the game. And outside of knowing the game, he knew his game. And he didn't try to do anything else outside of what he knew and what he had mastered in his actual game. And it's very easy to separate yourself from everybody else out here, or the quote unquote competition, if you just learn the game, because nobody is out here even attempting to learn the game. They don't spend any time, energy, effort, money, resources, or nothing on learning the game. So I'm like, how do you think you're gonna play a game where you don't even know the rules to the game? But this is something that I live by. You don't just want to know how to play the game for the sake of playing the game. You want to learn the rules to the game so you can learn how to effectively break the rules. And then you can mold and bend and manipulate things to work in your favor, because you know the rules so well that you can bend them and you can break them. I don't know if you watch sports or not, but a great analogy I love to use with this is James Harden. I don't know if you watch basketball, but James Harden, he has a step back move. In basketball, you only get 2 steps once you pick up the ball. But he understood the rules so much that James Harden figured out that if you bounce the ball, and when your hand's like here, if the ball is still spinning in your hand before the ball hits the ground again, you can take as many steps as you want to. So before, somebody would boom, pick the ball up, have 2 steps, and have to either pass or shoot. James Harden, boom, he figured out if the ball is still spinning, he could take like 6 steps and then shoot the ball. Everybody was saying, oh, that's a travel, he's breaking the rules. No, he learned the game so well that he could manipulate the rules, because he realized that after I take these 6 steps with this ball still spinning and I pick it up, I now have my 2 steps that the rule book says. The entire game of the NBA has been changed because of this one man manipulating the rules, because he knew the rules to the game so well. Another analogy I love to use, if you're not familiar with sports, Drake. Drake ended up being the biggest rapper, breaking all the rules of rap. When Drake first had his ascension, gangsta rap was in. Biggest rapper in the world, Lil Wayne, tattooed up everywhere. Gang member, talking about shooting up and bodying up all kinds of people in every single song. Drake comes in, clean-cut kid, nice, polite, singing. It was a rule in rap that the rappers had to write their verses. You had to write your bars. Drake gets outed for having a ghostwriter. Everybody knows that Drake doesn't write his music. Drake gets into a beef, a battle with this rapper named Pusha T. He throws out a jab, says Pusha T's wife named Pusha T comes out and says that Drake has a kid and he's a terrible human being, doesn't have any morals. And then he talks about Drake's best friend having a terminal illness. Drake says, oh, this is a rap battle, yeah? I punched you, but you hit back too hard. People said, Pusha, you didn't have to say that. He broke all the rules in the game that he's playing because he understands that game so well. He gets in another beef with Sir Kendrick Lamar Duckworth, right? And he goes and he sues after losing a rap battle, right? Regardless, Drake is still the biggest rapper. He understands the game so well to where he can just break the rules and manipulate them to his own liking. In entrepreneurship, Elon Musk learns the game so well to where he can break the rules and he can manipulate them because he understands the game that he's playing. He's currently the richest guy on the planet. You need to learn the game so you can effectively break the rules. Now, like I said, you don't have to be smart to get rich. The guy that I used to clean those parking lots for, he was dumb enough to take blind action and figure it out along the way. That's the main thing that I learned from working for this man. He was dumb enough to take blind action and figure it out along the way. A lot of people, they're too smart for their own good because most smart people just overanalyze everything and they get stuck in analysis paralysis and they never take any action at all. All they're doing is just constantly learning, constantly reading, constantly listening to podcasts, constantly taking courses, constantly watching YouTube videos, constantly planning, constantly blueprinting, constantly taking down notes. And they don't ever take any action. They're too smart for their own good. And there's something that's called beginner's luck. Beginner's luck is a real thing. And a lot of beginners are successful because they're too dumb to be scared by what doesn't work because they have no clue what doesn't work. And guess what? The fastest way to figure out how something does work is by messing up and failing and being like, oh, that doesn't work, so I'm not doing that again. And the more successful entrepreneurs I meet over time, you'll be shocked to realize a lot of these people, they're not smart. Like, you're smarter than most of these people out here, but they're just dumb enough to just go and figure it out along the way. It's like they're birds and they jump out the tree and they figure out how they're gonna fly on the way down versus the person that's just so smart and analyzing the speed of the wind and it's this much chill and the wind is coming from the west and at this time it'll be coming from this place. They'll never get out of the tree and they'll never even realize if they can fly or not. But number 4 is to save money. And you don't wanna save money just for saving money's sake. A lot of people out here are saving money for the wrong reasons. You don't want to save money just so you have an accumulation of money piled up. You will never save your way to rich. You will never save your way to freedom, but you do want to save some money so you will have some confidence and some security to actually take some risk. So I tell everybody I fired my job April 1st, 2016, and I fired my job without ever making $1 for myself outside of my job. But I had about $20,000 saved up when I did that. So I felt the confidence that I had at least enough money to last me this amount of time if a single dollar didn't come in. I had the security of that $20,000 to whereas I could go out and I could take some risks because I know I'll always be able to find another job. And actually, when I fired my job, that $20,000 that I had saved up, it was like half of what my goal was to have saved up before I fired my job. And I say fired because I ain't no quitter. I fired them motherfuckers. But I wanted to have about a year's worth of income saved up before I went out and I bet on myself to be a full-time entrepreneur. And one day I was in the car with my best friend, and my friend, I thought he was like one of my most successful friends that I had at the time. He had a house, he had a nice car, he had a motorcycle, he had one of those 3-wheel bike type things. I don't know what they're called, maybe a T-Rex where it got 2 wheels in the front, 1 wheel on the back. He had parties at his house all the time. He had get-togethers, he had gatherings. He would always go out and he would pay for stuff for people. He had a nice studio that he built in his house. I thought like he was my most successful friend at the time. And we were in the car one day and I was telling him like, yeah, man, I'm thinking about firing my job, but I don't know, I ain't got that much money saved up. I only got like $20,000. And he was driving and he looked at me. He was like, bro, you got $20,000? And I was like, yeah, man, you know, it's not that much. I'm trying to get like 40,000 saved up, but I only got 20,000. And he like was stupefied. He was like befuddled. He was like, bro, you ain't lying. You got $20,000. And I was like, yeah, you don't. And his exact words was this: shit, no, I ain't got no $20,000. Where you get $20,000 from? I was like, bro, you don't have 20,000? He was like, I don't have anything near $20,000. Right then, everything clicked. I said, oh, I'm firing my job. I made the date April 1st. I said, oh, April 1st, I'm out of here. Because I was like, if I thought he was successful and I thought he had a lot of money, then majority of people out here are walking around with no money. So I'm like, I'm actually doing better than majority of people out here. But I had my beat up car. I had my 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom apartment. I had my unlavished life. But I realized in that moment that I'm actually ahead of majority of people walking around. So I was like, oh, I'm out of here. I put all chips in, I bet on myself. But I wasn't saving that money just to save the money. I was saving the money so I could feel more comfortable. And so I would have confidence in saying like, yo, if I don't make money right now, I still have something to survive off of until I figure it out. And then once I actually did start to make some money, this is when I learned number 5, and this is huge right here. All the money comes at once. Look, a lot of people, they think that success is a linear growth curve. Hold on, let me grab my whiteboard. Look, most people, they think success is a linear growth curve. So they think it's just a constant growth curve like this. But in actuality, success has an exponential growth curve. So this is an exponential growth curve. You see how right here it's like you don't really have no motion, there's no growth. That's in the can't get right stage. But then everything here just grows all at once. But most people, they quit right here in this stage. They quit in the I'm figuring it out stage. They quit in the can't get right stage. They quit in the it's not working phase. But look, it's impossible for work not to work. You know how people be like, oh, it doesn't work, I'll quit. If something's not working for you, then it's working on you and it's turning you into the person that you need to be for it to work for. And that all happens in this stage right here before the exponential growth curve. But I take it a level deeper because actually nobody sees what happens on this side of the axis before we actually even get to this stage right here. So how I said that all of the success or all the money happens at once. Success or getting rich or making money, whatever you want to call it, has an exponential growth curve. But there's something that happens before this stage of the can't get right. It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? So here's what the Dunning-Kruger effect is. So let's say that this axis is your confidence. I'm gonna just put confidence or CON for confidence. And let's say that this axis is your competence, right? Your understanding. Look, typically when you first start something, you're super confident. Why? Because you're dumb and you're ignorant about the thing that it is that you're starting. You have no clue on how hard it's actually going to be. So typically, people's confidence is at an all-time high when they first start something. And then once they get started, they realize, oh, it's not as easy as I thought it was going to be. Then their confidence takes a huge drop right here. And like I said, typically, this is where people actually quit. And then this is where the exponential growth happens. Then once you realize, when you hit this bottom right here and you realize that it's nowhere near as easy as you thought it was going to be, because now you're getting some actual information and some knowledge in real time because you're attempting to implement what you had all this confidence in here. Once you hit right here, then here is where you start to acquire all of the skills. Here is where you start to learn through trial and error. Here is where you build that strength and that mental fortitude. And then here is where you have that exponential growth. So people think that growth is here. It's not. It's this exponential growth curve like this, but in actuality, it's this, the Dunning-Kruger effect, where you have all this confidence, then it dies, and then you have the exponential growth curve. Once you actually start to work on yourself and acquire those actual skills, and the work is working on you here, and now once you hit right here, the work can work for you because you are now the person that you need to be for the work to work for. But let me erase some of this. But here, you can't skip this area right here. You can't skip the hard shit. You can't skip the failures. And remember, the only way to figure out what does work is by figuring out what doesn't work. And that's all of the work that's done right here. Now, number 6, money follows assets. A lot of people, they have this whole asset and liability thing completely backwards. Like a lot of people, they think that their house is an asset. An asset is only something that pays you every single month. If something is taking money out of your bank account, it is a liability. If something is adding money to your bank account, it's an asset. So people's houses are not assets. That mortgage is an asset for the bank or the mortgage company. It's a liability for you. Money follows assets. But the great thing about living in today's day and age, and we are living in the best time in human existence, because it has never been easier to create 6, 7-figure and beyond businesses for ourselves. I can't speak about the beyond yet because I've only made 7 figures online in my business, but I have a lot of examples of people out here making 8 figures and above, right? We can create assets for ourselves now, and we can utilize our own leverage instead of using somebody else's leverage. You can create digital assets. So, like I've said before, a digital product, you create the work one time, it can pay you forever. That is a digital asset. It's no different than a author that has a book, right? Let's think about some famous authors. Let's think about Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, right? Napoleon Hill wrote that book once. It's been paying whoever owns the rights to that book for forever. Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Robert Kiyosaki wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad once. He's built an entire career off of that one book. Not only the sales of that book, but he has ancillary products, teachings that are already in the book. Robert Kiyosaki has courses teaching about stuff in the book. Robert Kiyosaki has seminars teaching about stuff in the book. Robert Kiyosaki has high ticket programs teaching about what? Stuff in the book. He created that asset for himself one time. It pays him forever. The Bible. I don't know who owns the rights to the Bible, but that joint got created one time and they are getting paid forever off of that thing. All right, so you can create a digital product for yourself that's going to be an asset, whether that be an ebook, whether that be a course, whether that be a membership, whether that be some type of online mentorship, mastermind, whatever it is, that can be an asset for yourself. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, my YouTube channel is considered digital real estate. I like to call this stuff digital real estate. It's just like real estate in the physical, tangible world. We can have these little corners of the internet as our own digital real estate that's going to pay us every single month. Like I said, just the views alone from my small YouTube channel pay me more than a few rental houses. And I don't have to worry about tenants. I don't have to worry about property taxes. I don't have to worry about mortgages. I can just sit down and talk to you. So start to ask yourself, what can you create one time that can pay you forever? That's the key. Number 7, money follows the best. Money doesn't follow the loudest. I used to think that money followed the loudest, and it used to. In previous times, the loudest won. The best didn't win. But nowadays, it's flipped and the best wins. And all that you have to do is obsess on becoming the best at what it is that you do, and you will win. But the loudest marketer used to win. The loudest advertiser used to win. The loudest person with the biggest advertising budget used to win. Guess what? A lot of those people's ads, they're not running anymore. You don't see a lot of those people that you used to see ads from 6 months ago, 8 months ago, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. What happened? They're getting drowned out by the market because people, they don't want to see all the advertising. People, they want good product. And if you can just solely obsess on being the best and coming up with a good product, you will win if you just simply communicate to the people that need that product that you have a solution for them. So just focus on being the best. I know that I'm going to be the best at something when I am obsessed with it. When I'm obsessed about what I'm doing, I know for a fact I'm going to be the best at it. This is what I do and ain't nobody about to do it better than me. So start to ask yourself, start to think about what are some things that you can see yourself becoming obsessed about. Because if you're obsessed about it, then you have no choice. You have no option but to be the best. And if you look at any other successful person, they are obsessed about that thing that they are successful at. Sam Walton, if you're not familiar with Sam Walton, he created Walmart. I studied Sam Walton. Sam Walton was obsessed about Walmart. He was obsessed about Walmart to the point where he would go into other department stores with a measuring tape and he would measure how far apart other people's aisles were. He bought a plane just so he could see the layout of other department stores and the roads and the highways and the streets and whatnot from a bird's eye view so he could make his product better. There's a word that he always said in his book, Made in America. He wrote his autobiography on his deathbed, and he was like, gotta be obsessed with the customer, obsessed with the customer, obsessed with the customer. Then I studied Jeff Bezos because I found out that Jeff Bezos studied Sam Walton. And if you just think about what Amazon It's simply just Walmart online. And then when I read the letters to the shareholders that Jeff Bezos wrote to the shareholders of Amazon every single year, see the same thing. Obsessed, 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 obsession, obsession, obsession. Customer obsession, customer obsession. Look at any Jeff Bezos interviews from back in the day when he was building Amazon. He would say the same thing. Customer obsession. I'm obsessed. Customer obsession. Customer obsession. Kobe Bryant was obsessed about basketball. There's a lady I know, she makes a banana pudding. Like, she has a business that sells desserts, but their primary product is banana pudding. You can tell that this lady is obsessed on making banana pudding because she be putting her foot in that joint. You hear me? But what can you become obsessed about to whereas you look forward to doing it? You don't have a, oh, I have to do this attitude. You have a, oh, I get to do this attitude. That's when you know you can become the best at something. Number 8. Passive income doesn't exist. You need to learn how to make money actively before going out here trying to make money passively. You don't need to be out here trying to invest for passive income. You need to be an entrepreneur that knows how to make active income. Then once you have such a surplus of money running over, then you can dump it into some passive long-term vehicles. But you need to learn how to make active income before you make passive income. Do not skip the step of getting rich trying to buy wealth. That's why majority of people can't ever get ahead. They're trying to invest a little extra $100. They're trying to invest a little extra $1,200. No, learn high income skills. So now you have the high income and your cup runneth over to whereas they can runneth over into some of these investments. This is a big mistake that I made, thinking that real estate's the cornerstone of wealth, so I need to go and I need to acquire some real estate. When all the people that really are wealthy with real estate, they got so rich and then they dump the money in the real estate for tax advantages. They don't get rich off of the real estate. They get rich off of their business. Even the greatest investor of our time, Warren Buffett, he said, before you can let money work for you, you need to put in the work yourself. That's a Warren Buffett quote. And even if you did want to become an investor, that work is going to be acquiring all of the skills it takes to become a successful investor. But you don't need to make any investment outside of investing in yourself and acquiring high income skills. You need to be an entrepreneur, not an investor. You need to do business first. And anybody out here talking about passive income either doesn't know what they're talking about or they're actively selling you something, telling you that you can do nothing passively to make passive income. And I know I talked about real estate a little earlier. Anybody that I hear say that real estate is passive income, they obviously know nothing about real estate and haven't been in real estate at all, or they're just straight up lying to you. Because anybody in real estate will tell you that real estate ain't passive. Number 9, stop counting other people's pockets. For one, you don't know what that person did to get that money, and you might not want to do what they did to get that money. And you don't know what they actually have. If I use the example of when I made the decision to fire my job when I was in the car with my best friend and he told me he didn't have anywhere near the amount of money that I had, I'm pocket watching from afar, thinking that he's up because I'm looking at his nice house. I'm looking at the nice studio that he built in the house. I'm looking at his nice car. I'm looking at his 2 motorcycles. I'm looking at all the functions and house parties that he's 100% paying for. I'm looking at how he's paying the tab and grabbing the drinks and dinners for everybody when we go out and stuff. But he really didn't have anything. And if you look behind the scenes, pull back the curtains and can really see a lot of the stuff that's happening for a lot of successful people out here, you might not want that. You might figure out that the grass ain't greener on the other side. And a lot of times when the grass is greener, it's because it's shit over there. You know, manure is shit. They got a lot of shit on their yard. And you might not want to deal with that shit. Which leads into number 10. Not only do you need to stop counting other people's pockets, you need to stop counting other people's time. I know when somebody is going to fail when they ask somebody else, how long did it take you to do it? I get this in my comments all the time. How long did it take you to do it? How long did it take you to do this? How long did it take you to do that? Stop counting other people's time because you're setting yourself up for failure. Because you might be better than the person that you're asking how long it took them to accomplish something. So you're already setting yourself up for failure because you actually can get it done faster. But you're measuring yourself up to this person. So somebody may tell you that it took them 3 years to do something when you might be able to get it done in 45 days. So you cut yourself short because you have put the expectation on yourself that this is going to take at least 3 years. You've told your subconscious that. So something that you might be able to get done in a month and a half, 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, 18 months. It might not take you that 3 years that it took them because you might actually be better at the thing that you're working towards once you actually start working towards it. Or they might tell you something that you don't want to hear and that time frame may sound too long for you. And then you're not going to feel like you can do it because you don't think that you can endure for that time frame because you're looking for some instant gratification. When all successful people have delayed gratification, it's all the people looking around for that instant gratification that fail. And then they just go back to social media and just get all these cheap dopamine hits of instant gratification and liking stuff and whatnot because they can't delay any gratification. That's why most people are scared to create YouTube channels too. That's why everybody wants to just make Instagrams and TikToks and tweet and stuff like that because they like that instant gratification and they feel like YouTube, as far as content creation, it's gonna take too long to build a YouTube channel. Well, I'm like, the time is gonna pass anyways. Why don't you do it? That's the same thing people say in business. Well, it's gonna take me too long to make a lot of money. It's gonna take me too long to learn these skills. It's gonna take me too long to learn how to create a good product. It's gonna take me too long to brand myself. It's gonna take me too long to know marketing. It's gonna take me too long to become a good salesperson. It's gonna take me too long. I'm like, the time's gonna pass anyways. Shut up. What else are you doing with the time? But stop counting other people's time. Make a decision to do something and make a decision to do it until it's done. The time doesn't matter because the time's gonna pass anyways. Which leads to number 11, you need to obsess on solving other people's problems because in business, that's all it is. That's all entrepreneurship is. That's all business is. It's simply just selling a solution to somebody that has a problem. The only thing that anybody spends any of their dollars on is on something that solves a problem in their life. I'm telling you, lock in on these 11 things, you get numbers coming in online in your business like all them that you see on the screen right now. So if you're ready to make more working less online from stuff that you already know, go ahead and click the link down in the description, join the It's Credit at the top community. For weekly coaching from myself, all my exclusive trainings, plus a private community and entrepreneurs, all designed to grow your business online. It's only $47 a month to join right now. That's less than a cup of coffee per day. So click the link down in the description if you want to tap in, and I'll see you on our coaching call this Wednesday. I'm telling you, just think about the last thing that you spent $1 on. What'd you spend it on? If you really think about it, you spent it on something that solves a problem in your life. So if you simply just obsess on coming up with solutions to other people's problems, you'll be able to be paid forever. What I've done on my entire entrepreneurial journey is that I simply just solved my own problems. And now once I fix the problem for myself, I simply just sold the solution to other people that are going through the same thing that I've conquered. That's the easiest business that you can start for yourself online. So go ahead and click the link down in the description if you want to tap into the community. And I'll see you on our coaching call this Wednesday. Go ahead and check out this video for 3 tiny digital products that make you at least 100K. It works if you work it. It's credit at the top.